Well, those are some of the top business headline, perhaps one of the biggest story. We get to that in a moment, but quickly, let's introduce our guest now. We have an in-house analyst, Charles Fakova, IBrandTV analyst, is here with us now. Finally, you were talking to us from during the election. You talked to us from Delta State. And at a point you were in Abuja and all of that. I mean, now you are here now. Just before we get into the main conversation, so
yes.
How has it been in terms of what you see now there with regards to how government is responding to some economic burning issues at the moment?
Well, I will say the government, well, let me speak from the Delta State and a particular local government. They are responding, because I could see a lot of the empowerment program. Of course, at that village setting, I can identify people who attend, and they've been trained, and of course, they begin to talk good of the government and all that. However, the implementation of these schemes, people who are not even supposed to be on these programs, just because they belong to a political party, they just put their names, and some party leaders too, just put their names and say, okay, just go and attend. Because you could see that the instructors are doing their best, but the trainees themselves are not really serious.
So when we talk about corruption at the higher political office, we see corruption even within the local level and among the workers as well. And
it
of course it's something that is worrisome. We need to address. Maybe in coming government, probably we'll be able to make that one of the key point agenda. But interestingly, or less unfortunately, we've not seen that. As it were.
The problem, Frank?
Because they've been talking about how to borrow, and they've been talking about the economy. But corruption is a systemic issue that we need to actually tackle if every other thing must work.
Exactly. But the most important thing I discovered, was local government reform is key. Because this local government is closest to the people. And if we're able to fix that aspect, that tier of government, you will see things improving.
That's quite well. I can't agree with you, Les, because we recently saw some bills that were assented by the president. One is that there's an autonomy for the local government at that level. There's financial autonomy.
Exactly.
So I hope that impacts on the performance of governance at the local level.
Exactly.
But let's quickly go to what we have to do. Quickly, Nigeria's public debt stock now. The report we're getting is that Nigeria's 96% revenue was used to service debt in 2022. That's according to World Bank. How worrisome is this? Because if we're using all our revenue to service debt, so how, what are the implications of this? And how do you think we can correct this? Do you really think we can correct this?
Yes, we can try. Let's see. Implication. One, there will be no economic development, because if you use all your revenue, not even paying the debt, servicing the debt, and they're just paying the interest. Meanwhile, the capital, the principal sum
is still there.
Then it's a very big issue. And of course, we've seen all the calculations the accountants and the finance experts have done. Those calculations does not make any sense. Keep telling us our debt service to GDP ratio is this percent, is this that. That does not make economic reality. The issue here is we need to increase our revenue. That is one. Increasing your revenue, you have enough funds to service your debt, at the same time, pay part of the principal and embark on economic development. It is key. But like you have said, with corruption, it will be very, very difficult to pay our debt. Yes, we are not saying, even the lenders are not telling us to come and pay this debt overnight. And if you see some of the conditions of these loans, they are very friendly. 2%, 2.5%, 20 years, 30 years.
Even though they are very friendly, if you look at the fiscal deficit, the limit, the stipulated limit to fiscal deficit is around 3%. But now what we're having is about 5%.
Exactly. So that is where we need to come back and re-strategize and say, no, let us operate within the limits of these ratios. However, I always, when it comes to accounting ratios, I don't believe so much about it, because there are other factors you need to consider while even looking at those accounting ratios or financial ratios, because they just give you a guide as
That's
to
right.
what you are supposed
And that takes us to the second story, because to address this challenge, the IMF is actually, proposing that government increase tax so that they can cut down borrowing. I mean,
Okay.
just recently, government secured about $800 million to prosecute the impact of
subsidy
removal.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, but the IMF is saying, look, if you want to address this, you have to increase your tax if you want to cut your borrowing, because you cannot even do without borrowing. So if you want to, cut down the level of the rate of borrowing,
Yes.
I mean, you have to increase tax. But on the other side, we've seen that the organized private sector
Rejecting it.
has rejected it,
Yeah.
including Maxima. You have Manufacturer Association of
Yes,
Nigeria.
yes.
You have NASI, that is the one in charge of the small scale industry. So you have quite a lot of them.
Yes, I share the pains of the organized private sector. They have a right to
Reject it.
to reject this advice. In fact, they even call it toxic advice from the IMF. Yes, but one thing is clear. We need to reduce our borrowing, whether we like it or not. And that's what they're saying, increase it. I don't actually agree 100% with increasing the tax. The available people
Right.
in that tax bracket, are we collecting optimally what they are paying? The people in that tax net,
Are they remitting
are they
what
remitting
they are?
what exactly?
Exactly.
Then the leakages, are we blocking all those leakages? Because there is one thing to increase, and if those leakages are still there, then you will not see any meaningful impact on that your increase. For me, I think the issue is tax administration. We should look at those who are expected to pay this tax, and let's see how we can collect it efficiently. That is more important. I mean, we see some people, they don't even declare the profit they made, and of course, they won't pay that tax they're expected to pay. So before increasing the rates of this tax,
Right.
we should look at the existing collecting formula. How are we efficient in collecting this revenue, this tax, and ensuring that everything gets to government, not at the end of the day, it gets to private.
There's some economists
pockets.
that have suggested that maybe the way to go about it is perhaps you can tax the rich. Get
as
the
much
rich
as
involved
possible
as
from
much
them.
as possible, so that you'll be able to make or augment some loopholes within the middle class, and of course ordinary Nigerians on the street who
Well,
cannot even afford, and
I would not-
businesses who are also just
I
coming.
would not agree with that. Whether you say the man is a rich man, is middle, or whatever is poor, the tax that is commensurate with what is earning, because you are taxing his profit, so he should pay what is commensurate with what he has made. There is no point so you want to overtax the rich so that they will supplement for that of the middle class.
I
and
think
poor.
the
No.
conversation is around those big businesses who are
Yes.
benefiting from government policies and all of
Exactly.
that.
So if you say the income tax, maybe payee is this percentage, let it be what everybody pays. And of course, if you want to supplement, or you want to support the low income, you reduce their own tax. It's not a question of saying tax the rich more. That will sound as if it's a class war. And
But of course, you have that in other sinner crimes like US. I mean, you have them.
yeah,
I
what
mean,
we
in
should be
other-
doing is you
other
tax
developed countries.
consumption. Consumption of luxury items. Yes, because if you are rich, it does not mean that you must begin to import champagne of, is it 40,000 naira per bottle, according to one particular state
40,
governor.
40 million.
40 million.
I think I saw that story. Whether that is true or
You know,
not.
those are the kind of luxury we should be taxing, not taxing the average rich man who has his businesses, employ people, paying them salary, creating wealth. Then it will not be fair to say you want to, because he's rich, out of
Okay.
his own hard work and entrepreneurial skill. We should not overtax him.
Interesting. Let's go into the next story. Perhaps it's one of the biggest story of the day, looking at aviation unions planning to down tool and flights maybe disrupted. Businesses within the Nigerian aviation sector will be disrupted. Supposed to start, yes, the warning strike. I mean, as at last week, they issue an ultimatum that they may start the warning strike from today. So, and that, of course, is expected to last Monday and Tuesday.
Well, will I tell you something, Frank? That was why I am here today, because I knew I couldn't take the chances because I wanted to be here in the studio live Monday morning. My flight was for today. But I said, if there is this disruption now, then I won't be able to
get stuck.
So I had to take it back to yesterday. And on the aircraft, I was able to ask 1 or 2 of the crew, but they were not giving me any answer. In fact, one even said she's not even aware of any. And I was wondering, are they not part of the union? That is the cabin crew. Well, if they are not aware and the union has given that warning strike, and the government has not said anything, then of course, again, it has shown that the government has been very irresponsible. Yes, I could see the efficiency in
because what they are fighting for really is, good service, good working conditions, of course, welfare,
which is a legitimate right
yes,
for any worker
that's
to
what
demand.
You're talking about.
Yes, I could see their faces, they are smiling. That is the workers, on the aircrafts, on ground, trying to see that passengers have a very wonderful experience. I could see that. But at the same time, they are the ones who are there. And if they are saying, government, we have had the discussions, these negotiations long ago. Why not just implement what we have agreed? They are not asking for any additional conditions. The ones we have agreed, implement it. And if as at today, we've not heard the government saying anything, then for me, that's irresponsibility.
Because what I'm looking at, I'm looking at the loss that may come with this. Because
yes, I agree.
With 2 days, the nation could lose as much as, in billions. I mean, if you put that together, Monday and Tuesday, let's say the whole airport is shut down, flight cancelled, businesses are disrupted.
Affected, yes.
So I'm just looking at the loss. Perhaps we need to look at the loss and the impact this will bring to aviation sector. And that's why the government needs to rise up and act before they act.
Situation gets to
prevent the losses.
Yes, it's not even looking at the economic implication now. We are saying morality, good moral. You have negotiated with some persons long ago.
Right.
Implement that what you have agreed upon. And if there are things you cannot even implement now, you go back to the union and say, look, because of these issues, these are the ones we can implement. Of course, the workers are human beings. They will understand and see when you are talking to them with facts. The last time I checked, ICOA, that's International Aviation Body, they were in Abuja. The Minister of Aviation was there. And we had somebody who spoke very well, I think a poet, Chukwumeriji, and he said, Africa is a hub. Nigeria is a center when it comes to aviation. And if we cannot take care of those workers who are making this possible, then we are not serious to make Nigeria as a hub when it comes to aviation, because aviation connects everybody to the world economically. So I think for me, I'll still put the blame. If the workers shut down the airports today, I'll put the blame on the Minister of Aviation.
Hadiserica.
Yes, the bulk stops at the stable.
Let's look at the final story before we let you go, Charles. I mean, the fuel subsidy removal as federal government await National Assembly approval for the disbursement of World Bank's $800 million US dollars palliative. I mean, we talked about how that the organized private sector has rejected the advice of IMF. So how do you think, if you look at this now, what they are saying is that they are planning perhaps that the cost that may come with this may be more than $800 million US dollars. I mean, but we've not been able to even prosecute this now. This is just coming. And this $800 million will last for just 6 months, according to the report we're getting here. So how do we address this? Because it's going to cost more.
Well, one will say the government is trying to be proactive. They know that by the time the subsidy is removed, completely, there are implications, increase in the price per liter of this PMS.
Because some of the marketers have said it may rise as 750 naira.
Yes, per liter. Again, the issue I will ask the government, can we fix these refineries before we even talk of this? At this level now, at today, which is April, the current government just had some few, is it up to a month now, to leave.
What is the
state of our refineries? That is very critical. Whatever subsidy or no subsidy or whatever, palliative or no palliative. In fact, if you look at it critically, we don't even need this $800 billion palliative. If the refineries are fixed, demand and supply will determine the prices. And we know how much we are going to save.
Some people believe that the refinery would have been fixed by now.
Exactly.
But fixing it now, do you think it will be able to save anything between now?
Because we don't even know the state of the refinery. That's the issue. What about the private refineries, the ones you have said you have licensed and they are supposed to have come on stream to start refining product? I don't want to mention the particular name.
Although the government has said that the refinery, the Port Harcourt refinery, is supposed to come alive this April. So let's hope that that will happen. But how much do you think, how significantly with the refinery or the Port Harcourt refinery, address some of the output of the production of oil from that refinery? How significantly will it impact?
The government need to tell the state of this refinery. What is the capacity now? Then, of course, the other Dangote refinery we're talking about, when is it coming on stream? Because we need supply to be steady. And the monies we are going to save from subsidies can be channeled into health and other areas.
That's right.
It is not just going to go and get $800 million package and they're going to give Nigerians 5,000. What are the criteria you're going to use to determine who benefits from that palliative? And you said just for 6 months. After 6 months, what happened?
And after 6 months, Nigeria has about 25 years to pay back.
Exactly. So the issue is the state of our refinery. And I believe that this government wants to leave a lasting legacy that at the end of the day, Nigerians will say, this is what this APC-led Buhari administration has done to alleviate the pains and sufferings of Nigeria when it comes to subsidy removal.
Well, I think we need to leave it there. Thank you so much, Charles Fakroha, IBrandTV senior analyst. We appreciate you for coming on the program.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
All right,
Live
in
the studio.
Yes, exactly. All right, still to come after the break. Well, Nigerian Exchange Group recorded a 2.08% loss during the week as the offshore index depreciated by 2.08%. Well, that's what we'll be talking about next after this break. Please stay with us.